you guys go?
Okay, yeah.
No, you go.
Yeah, if you want, I can start. So, hi for everyone who joined us. Thank you very much um, for coming. And my name is Manuel Lario. I'm the co-founder of Deep Venture IO, and we built the first IP NFT marketplace for space patents. And you can imagine, in the academic field, we got some very specific problems related to content, communication, and all the distribution and collaboration in the back. And the main topic is that there's a movement currently emerging called decentralized sciences. And this is all related to how we as a society can actually use blockchain as a technology with this maturity rate to use it to create more common goods. So how and when can science actually be a common good for society? And this is what I do. So I build an IP NFT marketplace for space patents. Our prototype is currently live with more than 2,000 publicly available patents on the web. And the overall vision is not only to build this marketplace. You can imagine it's like the very first product line. Because what we want to tackle is somewhere in the back and at the very beginning of the value chain. We want to create more communities for all the people, all the general public to contribute to science. So also at the very beginning of the DeSci movement. And to do so, we want to build deep tech communities. Deep tech communities to educate, to transfer the knowledge and also the engagement of the scientific community to the general public. And this is what I work for. This is what I believe. And for sure, I think that technology will solve the most critical issues of our time for our society. And this is related to climate change. And then for sure, related to space exploration. Thanks a lot for having me.
The overall ReFi movement is new for me. What I don't believe it's new for me, or what I'm looking for in the group, is being connected with people that have the same mindset. In this case, is ensuring that space exploration is done for the greater good. And in my particular case, it's looking at existing databases, and I know the term is boring, databases, but what databases means, for example, the NASA technical report server, and tons of knowledge that is there in research paper, PhD thesis, reports that we as US citizens or people that live in the US have been paying, and helping that to propel space exploration. And that means that if an engineer or someone that is creating a new spacecraft design, he should be able to have something that helps him to make decisions on the design, on the features, on the risks, on the existing models, instead of going back and trying to A, reinvent the wheel, and B, doing it wrong. So that's my role. It's to create a system. I'm going to call it machine learning, AI generated, but with distributed nodes of knowledge that can help engineers, so that we don't have only one SpaceX man, because it's impossible. SpaceX is running the world. It's ruling the world. It's way ahead of everyone. And we need to have more SpaceXs in order to make the world definitely better, and space becomes something. So that's my goal.
It's great to be here with you. Thanks for putting this together. How fun, and in coordinating all the backstage technology to get this live. That's great. Good teamwork. Yeah, so Frontier DAO, we have several things that we're concentrating on. Space exploration is one of the main things. And so is fusion energy. And believe it or not, the two kind of go together, because fusion energy is both being researched for a clean energy alternative for the planet, but it's also being researched for a possible propellant to get rockets to Mars in a fraction of the time. I mean, I think one estimate now has it down to about 1 month as soon as we get a fusion propelled rocket, which, for example, Princeton Plasma Labs is prototyping and working on. Anyway, not to go too much into the weeds, with this cohort that we're together as a group, and my focus is on the climate solution technologies that space technologies can offer, and also inclusivity, to be very honest. So I really feel very strongly, along with so many others, I'm certainly not a lone voice in this, that the diversity of backgrounds and ideas and experiences can really only enrich the future and the present of space exploration and space exploration technologies. Um, so so that's something that I'm personally very focused on. We have several initiatives in Frontier DAO that do address that. One is a virtual museum where people from all ages and all backgrounds can come and sort of explore and get a feeling of what space exploration might be like. And then another thing is, in the last several years, I focused on what kind of food programs. So more of like the human experience of space exploration. NASA had a food challenge a couple years ago, which I entered. And I thought, how great that they're really starting to look at what people are going to eat on the moon and on Mars, and this being such an historic week with Artemis 1 launching, woohoo, right? It's really within our sights now. It's not something that's far off. I mean, we've waited 50 years for this launch to the moon. So very exciting times.
Where was I? Yeah, so you cannot put any kind of intellectual property on an open Web3 system, or at least you have to protect it somehow. So common solution are encryption, whereas I take maybe a bit more drastic stance that you shouldn't send any kind of encrypted data or any kind of sensitive data to other participants. But this is what I used to do, and now I kind of pivoted, and I'm building a space startup to realize space-based solar power. And this is kind of a new concept that's being very much in the start phases right now all over the world. The concept is that you send satellites into space, into most likely a geostationary orbit, where you will collect solar electricity with solar panels and you let's call it high-tech solar technology, and then you beam it wirelessly down to Earth. And this concept has the potential of base load 24/7 electricity to Earth. And reports from the European Space Agency, European Space Agency funded reports state that this is a concept that has the potential to be cheaper than fossil fuels, nuclear, and other similar solutions. So this is kind of a new energy solution. It's very much in the beginning phases right now. The European Space Agency is having funding this program to do the preparatory research required next week. So it's exciting to be starting in this field. And on the Web3 side, while this is a space project, I'm kind of looking into in the future if we can use some to tie in some Web3 finance, for example, to fund this endeavor. For example, could you tokenize individual systems and individual locations, individual power plants, and then raise money locally through a platform or something that can then fundraise to build and operate and deploy the system, and then distribute the revenue somehow without revealing the IP or without diluting equity and so on. So I'm excited to be here and discuss further.
Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Rod, and 8 years ago, I decided that I want to build a tourist base on the moon. I decided to do it because it's fun, and I'm passionate about space exploration. 4 years ago, I became a professional space engineer. I worked on robots for lunar surface exploration, and I also passionate about blockchain. I believe that all people all over the world should have an opportunity to do what they want to do. And I know that a lot of people in the world, they really like space exploration, but it's really complicated. And it's quite permissive right now. Working as a space engineer on a lunar robot, I realized that actually it's not so hard to engineer, I think, but it's really hard to maintain engineering, and it's really hard to deal with all the documentation, because when you're making something for space, for example, if you're making a robot for space, you have somehow to integrate that robot into a lander that is going to the moon, and that lander has to be integrated into a rocket, and to do that properly, everything has to be described. Like each and every single bolt of the connection mechanism must be described. And it's really annoying. Nowadays, people use documents that are sent using emails back and forth. They manually updating these documents. And I believe that with based on Web3, based on blockchain technologies, it's possible to make a system where engineers would be able to easily exchange information, documents, models in a seamless way. I also believe that using Web3 technology, it's possible to create databases compatible to NASA, but that would be free and open source for everyone. Like, for example, NASA MapTest database. To sum everything up, I founded a project. It's called Lunka, and now I call it a lunar-based engineering metaverse for space professionals. I really like the idea of ReFi, and I joined this circle because I really believe that ReFi could help finance such projects, and I really like the idea that the value could be stored inside the community that generated value to generate more value. And I think that's what must be done with the space exploration. So thanks for giving me an opportunity to present myself.